Hello everyone, I'm André, CTO at Ethiack, and today we are here with Jorge Pinto. He's the president of the Portuguese Association for the Promotion of Information Security. We are going to talk about how cybersecurity associations can help society by bringing awareness on this critical topic. Hi Jorge, thank you for being here with us. So, can you tell us a bit about yourself, your history, who you are, and what you do?
Sure. So thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure being here and talking to you guys. So I'm Jorge Pinto. I am one of the founders, and I'm the current president of the Portuguese Association for the Promotion of Information Security. And about myself, I've been working in security since 1990 something. So 96 maybe, professionally since 99 definitely, but I'm involved in security. I got involved in security a bit earlier than that, and that was actually one of the things that made me come work to this area. And yeah, I've been working since then. I've never done anything else. I'm just one trick person, and one of the highlights of my career was definitely being part of the group of founders of the association, and now until now the president that is supporting and defining the strategies for the association.
Awesome. So it's been a while that you have been suffering during some nights, I assume, because of information security, or is it more a relaxed life being on this role? What do you say?
Let's say yes. So yeah, you have nights where you suffer a lot, thinking about the other the negative aspects of working in this area. So it's kind of I usually say that people that work in security are not normal people, because normal people don't spend the day thinking about what is going to go wrong. And that is definitely one of the things that we do. So we look at stuff, we see if it's going to break, how it's going to break, when it's going to break, and that may lead to some sleepless nights. On the other hand, it's a very rewarding work, because when you see things actually working, when you see people understanding why security is important for the company, for their work, for the business, at home, and now connecting also a little bit with the topic of the association. And when you see that, it's really rewarding, understanding, seeing people understand why this is an important topic, why they should be aware, and then everything kind of flows and clicks in place, because as soon as people understand why this is a topic, then the technical stuff is going to happen after that. So it
100%.
has a bit of both sides. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine. So for those who might be new to the concept, we have this association in Portugal, but I'm not sure even about other countries. But could you briefly explain what information security associations usually do and how they contribute to digital society security?
Yeah, sure. So basically, the associations play a very important role in promoting cybersecurity and information security practices, knowledge, standards. And you see that usually the people that are part of the associations, of these kind of associations, are professionals, experts, organizations that work in this area. And even sometimes you see, in some cases, you see government agencies also being part of these associations. And there are many ways that an association like this, like us, can do good. And for example, we have education and training. And you guys were there at B-Sides Lisbon. That is kind of one of the pillars of the work that the association does every year. So B-Sides Lisbon is a conference. It's organized by the community for the community, and it provides information, it provides knowledge, it provides a networking space where people can stay and learn about what is happening in the world, other views on the same topics. So facilitating knowledge, that is definitely one of the pillars of an association. Another one that is also celebrating 10 years on this year is called I Am the Cavalry. We had the founder at B-Sides also, and in the US they contributed a lot to define standards, define best practices, and even change the law to make sure that some of the topics that are a crucial part of cybersecurity and safety of people in the intersection of cybersecurity and people safety were taken into account and were made law. So they had, in 10 years, they had an enormous weight in decision making in the US. So that is also something where associations can support. Another topic, for example, the Portuguese Association, our association, is part of a bigger one, coalition, as they call it. It's the Global Encryption Coalition. And so policy, advocacy, it's also part of what an association can do to bring these topics to the fore and to make people more aware of what are the risks that they are exposed to. So, for example, we work we promote encryption awareness so that people understand that why is encryption important for their lives, where does encryption has a key role in protecting the way of life, for example, for journalists, for some minority groups, for some specific groups like, I don't know, digital human rights advocates, even defending some groups regarding sexual choices. For example, we are in Portugal, so Portugal is a good country, mostly is a good country, but there are countries. Yeah, it is, and there are countries that are not so open or not so available for differences of opinion, for example. So this is also a spot where associations have a key role. Of course, also research and innovation. So, for example, in our association, we also have, and it's going to be after this, while we record, after this recording, we are going to have the ceremony of the award, a merit award that the association supports every year for the best master thesis in topics related with information security. So also research and innovation, we try to support there. And then, of course, we have the usual topic that people see in associations: information sharing, collaboration, community building. For example, we try to organize an event every month when we have volunteers, of course, to present, to join the community, to put the community together and to present topics, to discuss those topics, and eventually have a drink also, so in a relaxed environment. And collaboration, of course, we work very closely with the National Cybersecurity Center, with Porto University, with Técnico University here in Lisbon. So there are many ways an association can bring these topics to the light, and we try to, as best as we can, to have an activity or an initiative in some of these that I mentioned. Essentially, our work in the association is to ultimately bring public awareness.
Yep.
So everything that can contribute to that, campaigns, articles, this kind of podcasts, and thank you again,
It's our pleasure.
important. Yeah, and so basically we try to contribute to the security of society, and of course building a more resilient society. If people understand and people if people know what are the risks and what are they exposed to, then they can make better and informed decisions. So that is ultimately our goal.
Yeah, and I must say, this question was more to introduce what you guys do. I'm fortunate to know the work that you guys do, because you are actually changing the security landscape and community here in Portugal. I can recall the first time I heard about the association was at my first Besides Lisbon. I didn't know anyone in the scene in Portugal. And I went to Besides Lisbon in 2015 and started knowing a lot of people in the scene, a lot of ethical hackers from Portugal. So yeah, thank you so much for what you guys are doing for Portugal. And also we are, of course, like you were saying, in this boat together, regardless of our organizations and so on. Only by sharing the knowledge, we will be able to have a chance at actually having such a society where we can all live in with the correct balance between freedom and security, obviously. So thank you so much. And talking about ethical hackers, I wanted to ask you as well, do you think that the collaboration between associations, information security associations, and ethical hackers could benefit everyday people and organizations?
No, I think they could greatly benefit everyday people and organizations, especially at this moment in 2023, we are talking about a landscape where we need hundreds of thousands of information security professionals. And this is not me saying, it's other associations, other entities, organizations mentioning this. So there is a lack of information security professionals. Society is every day is becoming more and more rooted in the digital world, in the cyberspace. So we have banks, we have social media, we have our phones now, we have calls using the internet. It's really hard to understand or to notice where the physical blends with the digital. And this is where definitely ethical hackers come into the fore. So the collaboration between the associations like us, hackers, and also governmental entities can definitely benefit everyday people. How? On one hand, enhancing cybersecurity awareness. So because we bring the people that actually know what's happening and know what they're doing, we bring them and we open their knowledge to the society. But also, of course, doing their work, identifying vulnerabilities, identifying what can be done to correct those vulnerabilities, and bringing them also sometimes to the fore, to the companies that don't know that they have those vulnerabilities and need to patch them, need to correct them. And all this helps to improve the security posture, not only of the systems, but also in the society, because again, sharing knowledge, collaborating are the key elements of having a more resilient, more safe, more secure society. And definitely ethical hackers can bring that. And I can remember one of the keynotes in Besides Lisbon, Adrian was presenting the Cyber Peace Institute, that is kind of an association of hackers for good. So they try to find and connect hackers and cybersecurity professionals with non-profit organizations to improve the security posture of these organizations and protect them even more. Because again, non-profit, right? So there's always the need for money to do something, and here volunteering is definitely the goal of the Cyber Peace Institute, to make sure that these organizations are more protected, more well protected, with people who actually know what they're doing. So yes, definitely ethical hackers have a role, and the collaboration between associations and other entities with ethical hackers is very important.
Yeah, and you were also saying, and I have this feeling that we have all these layers in information security, from higher level and lower level, or the technical side of things, and I think that we need both the technical people to understand high-level decisions, and also the high-level people to understand what's actually going on. And I think it's very important, especially these days where the gap between technology and security is increasing every day. And also, you were talking about money for in terms of the associations. Besides money, what do you think would be the major challenges that you face as an association, and how do you mitigate, or have you mitigated such challenges?
Major challenges.
One or two. I don't know.
So, in regards to cybersecurity and information security, we have associations have the same challenges as companies. So we have a really fast evolving nature of cyber threats. So the 10 years ago was not the same landscape that was 20 years ago, and every year there is something new. So we also need to understand what's happening, and as an organization that has the goal of enriching knowledge in the society, we have to understand it first, and we have to make sure that we have educational materials, training programs up to date, that we pass the correct information to people, because again, they will listen to us, they will read what we write, so it's very important that the information is correct. And also there is the topic of the complexity of the issues. So it's a challenge to not only to keep the pace with the evolving threats, but also understand the complexity and break down that complexity in a way that non-technical people can actually understand what we are trying to say. So when we talk about, I don't know, one example, we talk about multi-factor authentication. So everyone that works in this area understands what is multi-factor authentication. If you go and talk about multi-factor authentication in a school, for example, you will have a lot of faces looking at you with that vacant eyes. Okay, what is this guy talking about? So you need to adapt the speech to the listener in a school, in a company, if there are technical people or not. For example, one of the things we are working now is a presentation for senior universities. So where you find people with more than 65 years old. So we cannot go there and say, oh, you need to implement multi-factor authentication and you need an app for that. So this is a challenge to make sure that the language is adapted and focused, and that we understand what's happening. We have the capacity to break it down and build different ways of sharing the information according to the listeners. Of course, There's also another challenge where we need to work, digital literacy also. So of course, if we can raise the level of digital literacy in our listeners, it will be also easier for them to understand and for us to pass along the message. And how can we cope with this? So it's our everyday job, basically. So we need to make sure that we can create and dynamic content, and that we share content in a way that it's focused to a certain audience, meaning tailoring the message for different audiences, and of course, again, collaboration with, for example, with the companies that support us, with the government, with the governmental entities, with schools, with universities, and of course, volunteering is also a big part of what we do. So what we do with the volunteer work of our associates. So of course, if more people volunteer, then we are able to create more content. We are able to have more initiatives, and I can remember one initiative that is also very dear to you, the Cybersecurity Challenge PT. So trying to, and that is mostly done by volunteers, right? So you guys go there.
Sleepless nights.
You create the challenges. You put the challenges online. We have the kids. We go with the kids where we provide training to the kids. So that is also done with volunteer work. So it would not be possible without having people that are there for us also. So those are the main challenges: understanding the issues, breaking them down into messages tailored to the community, and of course having the support of people to make this happen.
Amazing. And you guys are dealing with these challenges, at least these ones, properly, in my opinion. But it's not easy, definitely. I have another topic in my bullets, and the next topic would be talking about the Stop Scanning Me movement, because the Portuguese Association for the Promotion of Information Security is part of it. So do you believe that this initiative is working towards its goal? What are the main alternatives to this sort of dystopian surveillance machine that has been proposed by Europe?
Many topics here. So the Stop Scanning movement is something that we support, and they are working a lot in the US. And they also have the support of the Global Encryption Coalition, and the main objective of the movement in the European Union, not in the US, of course. There are initiatives in the US as well. So basically, our main objective is to support the decision makers and try to pass along our knowledge as specialists, as experts, as social society and organizations, trying to build awareness on what they are proposing. So essentially, we believe that all the proposals are done with the best intentions, and in this case, we are talking about the European Union regulation to fight the online sexual abuse material, proliferation of this material. So in one sentence, the regulation gained, in one word, the regulation gained the name of chat control. So just for this nickname, you can see the issues that can arise. So chat control is the nickname of the regulation, and there were several issues in that regulation, mainly with, for example, encryption, end-to-end encryption, and the idea is that we will be able to fight the proliferation of online child sexual abuse material if we have access to all the conversations, to all the posts, to images that are shared in applications like Signal, like WhatsApp, so our messaging applications like Facebook Messenger and so on, but also in platforms like, for example, like Facebook and other social networks like Twitter and so on. No, it's not Twitter, it's X, formerly known as Twitter. In the end, the heart is in the right place, the implementation not so much, because again, the specialists, the experts look at things in a way that what can go wrong with this, and eventually what we tried to bring to the fore and to bring the awareness to this is that the goal is very good. It's a very good goal. However, the implementation is lacking a lot of topics. So we don't see that the scanning of messages, everyday messages, every time is the correct way to go. Not only talking about the problems that this would bring to the privacy of people that are using these platforms and that are changing messages in these platforms, but mainly because it also does not protect those who are that the regulation wants to protect. So essentially, we would be also looking at the content of the youngsters' messages between themselves. The way that it was supposed to be implemented with artificial intelligence algorithms and image detection and so on would not give us the context of the message. So it would flag a message as sexual material. It could flag a message as sexual material when in reality it was not. And this would open a kind of a Pandora's box because and it happened in the US, for example. A parent shared in a message with the other parent pictures of their son, and the systems in place flagged that as child abuse material. The parents were in a process with the police, so they were flagged as potential predators, child predators.
I didn't know about it.
Yeah, that brings a lot of issues, and of course, the platform that the father of the child was using at the time was Google. So Google canceled every service that he had, and even after the police wrote a report saying that this is not child abuse, this is not online sexual material, Google never rolled back their decision. So he lost all the services that he had hired with Google, and you can imagine what difference does that make in a person's life. So there was a lot of work, and we were able to make the decision makers aware of the risks. And now there are a lot of changes that are coming down, and also, for example, and this also has other implications. Like, for example, we have a new AI Act coming also in the European Union. It's being lauded as the first law regarding artificial intelligence, and we can see some of the concerns that we raised in the chat control regulation also mirrored in the AI regulation. So things like AI should never be used for social scoring, for example, should never be used to infringe in the civil liberties of people, privacy rights. That is kind of the risks that we also mentioned in the chat control. So it is reaching a place where we are more or less comfortable with the regulation and the text. However, we also need to make sure that the police and that the police that works in investigating crimes have the needed tools to work, of course. So we don't want to make there needs to be a balance, and this kind of balance is we don't know what it is yet. So there aren't any tools that can be the silver bullet for this topic. We cannot look at encrypted content without actually breaking the encryption. So I think the alternative to the dystopian surveillance machine is definitely, again, collaboration. So the politicians, the decision makers need to collaborate with the experts. And also here is one of the topics where we see the need for research. So definitely there is a lot of space for research here to understand what can be done in this specific area that can allow, for example, police to do their work while still protecting privacy rights and of innocent people. Because that was actually one of the issues, is that everyone is guilty until proven the contrary. So we are going to scan everything everywhere at the same time. So this is not definitely a democratic practice.
Yeah, it's going towards the opposite way, of course, and the decision makers need to think, in my opinion, as well. If you want to stay as Europe in the free world, or if you want to turn into a totalitarian super state or something like that, because this is such a tool that would break encryption for all the people, right? So we need to find the balance that you are mentioning, and this is what's being proposed. It's not a balance at all. I 100% agree with you.
And again, it's also the problem of what comes in the future. So for now, we can look at our governments and say, okay, I can trust this government, I can trust that person. You know, he's the one that is going to, or they are the ones that are going to be in charge of this. You know, this person and that person, they are very trustworthy. However, we need to think also what is going to come after. You know, in 10, 15 years, is the government going to change? Are the people in charge going to change? Can the systems be perverted and be used for other things other than the ones that were the initial objective? And these are topics that we try to bring to the table and you know, make them a little bit more aware of this, because again, as experts, that is also our responsibility.
Yeah, 100%. And for those that are listening and don't know much about this topic, and if you agree with us and you want to support this initiative, you can go to stopscanningme.eu and sign the petition. Okay. Okay. Moving on. You were also talking about AI. I'll also add another topic about AI here in my guide. But I also wanted to ask you something first. How do you think that individuals and organizations can actively support the efforts of information security associations in spreading awareness about cybersecurity threats? For example, are there any measures or practices that both individuals and organizations should implement?
Well, both individuals and organizations can support the associations most of the time by being there. So, coming to the events, providing feedback, the networking, engaging, of course, and ultimately, while engaging, people will also gain, insights, because there will be networking, there will be knowledge exchange also. So I would say that is one of the ways that people can support is being there in the initiatives that the favorite associations or the associations where they belong that they support are organizing. Of course, becoming a member and volunteering are also two ways to support. Of course, they are very powerful ways because, again, money. So it also helps, even if it's a little bit. If we have a lot of supporters, then it becomes something that can be used. And for example, the award prize was something that we had in mind for a long time, but we couldn't have the financial capacity to do it. But as the association started growing, and it became possible to do that. So now we give back to the community by, of course, that we give back to the community that supported us all the years that we needed to have some stability and capacity to do that. Of course, membership does not only support the financial side, but also allows the individuals to actively contribute. So in volunteering, again, so I was talking about the program that we are building for senior universities. That is a group of volunteers that is doing that. Besides is organized by a group of volunteers, and the Merit Prize Award, the jury is completely a group of volunteers. So ultimately, membership and volunteering kind of make the commitment more solid, and they also foster the collaborative environment that I've been talking about for the last half an hour.
Yeah, and me as a member, I definitely agree that all the information security professionals out there, ethical hackers, it's really worth to help this association on these initiatives and be a voice as well on shaping the future of information security in Portugal. All right, we still have some time. So how do you see the internet in 5 years? What do you think it's going to happen? How do you see the role of AI in cybersecurity in the next 5 years? If you had to predict like what's going to happen, what would you say? I mean, in general, to the world.
Yeah. So AI is definitely a very interesting topic. We have no idea what's going to happen in the next 5 years. It's kind of fun, creepy, scary, and exciting at the same moment, at the same time. So since last year, since ChatGPT made its debut, like everyone was in the first few months of the year, everyone was screaming, "My God, the machines are coming." Because now we have a machine that answers. Yeah, now we have a machine that talks to us, and we can have a conversation with it. and most of the time, it makes sense, like a person. Also, not everyone makes sense all the time, but that it was very interesting to see the how that specific element brought the artificial intelligence topic to every news station in the world, newspaper. Every magazine had an article and still have articles on the topic. Why? Because people started looking what is artificial intelligence, which is actually something that is being developed since the 1960s. And we are already using it in a thousand ways. So when we use these watches to monitor our activity when we get in the steering wheel of a Tesla, for example, and other cars, other brands. Even in war, artificial intelligence is being used to identify targets, to identify possible targets, possible casualties. So artificial intelligence is the technology, and it's there, and it needs to be like any other technology, needs to be understood, needs to be used for good again. And I think, for example, what the European Union is doing since 2018, I think, which is developing this AI Act, is very important because it helps us to understand what were we doing wrong. So things like, let's get the data, let's get all the possible data from a person to identify the patterns, to understand how can we better provide the service. That's the nice way of thinking. But then, of course, as a security specialist, my focus is let's get all possible data from a person. And then, okay, what are we going to do with it? Are we allowed to do anything with it? Are we going to, let algorithms define our life? There are a lot of challenges. There are a lot of opportunities as well. So artificial intelligence can help companies, can help researchers, can help basically mankind to understand things that we already know, but we are not using the best way we can. For example, it's kind of looking at your own neck, at your own back of the neck. So you need some help. And it's, for the moment, it's not going to bring like new stuff, because these generative models are taught with what already exists. So what they are presenting that seems new is maybe a new look at what already exists. But they will support mankind in bringing something new. So if we start looking at the same things with different eyes, then we can start thinking in different things. Like, oh, I never noticed that I could do this. Oh, I never noticed that I could look at this way, and maybe we can develop some kind of technology. Maybe we can develop a new story, a new way of painting. It as a support for mankind. I think artificial intelligence is going to be definitely the way to go in the future. And again, that's what the people that started developing thought also in 1960 something. The internet in 5 years. I know what I would not like to see. What the Internet Society calls the splinter net. So different countries having their own internet. I would not like to see that. I would not like to see a fragmented internet, because we know, we can see that it's useful. It's a good thing. Also, topics like what was the word? Where you pay the companies to have more access or more bandwidth, or your communications can be prioritized. That also I would not like to see. So I would like to continue to see the internet evolving as it is, providing in the same level for everyone that can have access, providing access to information, access to knowledge, and equal, at least as much as equal as possible, access to everyone.
Yeah, as a right, basically, for
yes,
mankind, basically.
Yes, definitely, yes.
Yeah, I agree, and we need to make sure that we keep the internet evolving, of course, and but while keeping its original goal to provide a way of and to provide a way for us to have free speech and access to knowledge on our fingertips. So, and I think that's the most probable scenario, is for us to keep going towards that end, because we are all working in that way. But at the same time, initiatives that want to reduce our privacy and our freedom of speech would empower, for example, such AI systems to, instead of helping us, to control us every single day. And regarding the internet fragments, we are already seeing some of these fragments in the world, right? And we need to make, if possible, it will be amazing if we could be just one internet and one world, in my opinion, and one mankind, right? Would you like to add something to this topic with more predictions?
No, definitely not. I'm a very bad prophet. I'm very bad at looking at the future. So what I would like to see, and that is one of the things that we also work in the association and myself privately, is more digital literacy, to be honest, more critical thinking, because those are the tools that we use to protect from other stuff like misinformation, disinformation, and such. And all these topics, the internet, artificial intelligence, technology, we should use them to become a better version of ourselves, not to become lazy because technology is there now. I don't need to do anything, because I can access information at the tip of my fingers. I don't need to read a book. I don't need to discuss topics with anyone. I can just go to ChatGPT and ask, give me your information on this topic, and it will give me. So we need to make sure that we use technology in the right way, that we use it to become better versions of ourselves and not lazier versions of ourselves. Definitely.
Yeah, and worse versions of ourselves, because I'm noticing as well that given that we are noticing the side effects of social network algorithms and so on, where basically everybody's looking at their feed, and that's their sneak peek of reality, right? That is increasing our differences and adding more labels and increasing the distance between us. And I think that we need to, like I was saying, we are one kind, in my opinion. We are all humans, and we are on this boat together. So
definitely,
that's what I hope for the next years, and for us to solve these problems.
Yeah. Again, as security professionals, as hackers, and I remember when the internet started. And this is a horrible sentence to start, but I remember when the internet started, we wanted to see what was there, on the other side of the hill, on that BBS. Oh, there is a BBS about, I don't know, any topic. Now, everyone can access whatever they want at any time. So we need to be sure that we are not creating bubbles, like you were saying, with the social networking algorithms and so on. So we need to make sure that we understand the bubble concept, and we are able to look outside the bubble.
Exactly, and understand the point of views of other people.
Exactly.
And accept them.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So just two final questions to wrap up. Short answers. If you need to say, like, what is the one cybersecurity practice that an organization these days should never skip? First thing that comes to your head, your mind.
Okay, so we need to make sure that cybersecurity starts at the top.
At the top. You mean like the administration level?
Executives and management. Again, cybersecurity is not only a technical problem, it's also an understanding problem. So if executives and top management understand what's happening, then they will be able to provide resources, they will be able to make decisions, and everything will flow a little bit better or easier. If not, it's completely the other way around. So best cybersecurity practice organizations can do, make sure that your executives and top-level management understand the issue.
Yeah, I definitely agree, because I keep seeing people that are afraid of, for example, us reporting their vulnerabilities, because the executives or the administrators would be saying, oh, you're doing a bad job because we have vulnerabilities. That needs to change, basically.
Definitely.
So I agree. Yeah, that's a very, very good advice. Okay, one last question. What should be the next steps to improve the cybersecurity or hacking community in Portugal?
Okay, so I'm going to go back to what we were talking about: education and training, collaboration, outreach. So making sure that we are reaching the people and in the society. We need more research and innovation. So we need people to start doing research in these areas, in Portugal, definitely, in the world, for sure. Policy advocacy. So again, bringing the topics: how can cybersecurity affect everyday lives? So I would say these are the next steps to improve the community. So making sure that there is a community, so that we are training people in these areas, that we are learning, that we want people learning in these areas, and researching and collaborating, and making sure that the other non-technical or people that are not in these areas are aware of the risks. So we need to communicate that. And again, I think that is a topic where ethical hackers are crucial. So we need people that have ethical values, that have the technological know-how, and we need these people to make sure that more people are brought to this area, that more information flows, that more collaboration exists. And just to give you a small example, since 2019, the association has been working with the National Cybersecurity Center to make sure that we change the law to ensure researchers and ethical hackers, that so people working on the right side of the law, have protection when they find something, and they want to communicate that something to a company, to an organization, to a manufacturer. They need that kind of protection. So we are still working on that. Stability in government has not been very helpful, but we already have a very strong commitment in the law for this to be true in the next, hopefully, in the next few months, or in the next government, basically.
Yeah. All right, Jorge, thank you so much. Very, very nice and insights into information security associations, the future as well. Thank you so much. So yeah, together we can build a resilient and secure digital world to empower a free society. That's our hope for the future here. So, Jorge, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, your expertise, and inspiring more individuals and more organizations to join information security associations. Thank you so much.
Thank you.